Well, good afternoon or evening or morning, whenever you are watching this. My name is Pastor Mark. I am grateful to be here. I'm the lead pastor at American Reformed Church. If you are finding this video for the first time, we are going through a video series. This is day number 5. This is Monday morning when this video comes out. And we are at day number 5. We are going 40 days leading up to Easter, looking at 40 different names or titles that is connected to Jesus. And the goal is for us to just be able to keep our eyes on Jesus during this Lenten season, and really by keeping our eyes on Jesus, growing to be more like Jesus, being encouraged because of who Jesus is in our lives, because of the promises that he brings us, the promises that the Bible tells us about on who Jesus is. And so it's been exciting so far, and I pray that each one of these videos is an encouragement to you and to helpful in your daily walk as well with the Lord. And so really grateful to be able to put these together. Today we are looking at this next name, and let me bring up the name here on the screen. In the Bible, Jesus is also known as the Chief Shepherd. The Chief Shepherd. And where do we get this name Chief Shepherd from? Well, it actually comes from Peter again. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 4. This is what Peter says about Jesus. He says, "And when the Chief Shepherd appears, you will receive the unfading crown of glory." What a wonderful verse, right? I mean, what Peter is talking about is, of course, when the Chief Shepherd appears, he's looking into the future on Jesus's second coming, and there's a lot of emphasis there in that passage. You know, you will receive an unfading crown of glory. I mean, that's what Peter is pointing us towards. So it's definitely a reference to his second coming. But I think there's some encouragement, and there's some things that we can take from the title of Jesus being the Chief Shepherd even today. So the first thing is, if you look at Jesus being the Chief Shepherd, we're looking at Jesus being the preeminent shepherd, the first shepherd. And so I think there's a lot of like leadership that comes out of Jesus being first or preeminent. In fact, this is what Paul would say in Colossians chapter 1, verse 18. He says the following. He says, "And he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in everything he might be preeminent." And so this idea of chief is a positional thing. And it's really seeing Jesus as first or preeminent or supreme to all other authorities. And I think like that is so helpful for our lives today. In fact, I know it's helpful for my life as a pastor. I've been asked this question before, where people say, "Hey, there's 2 chairs sitting up front in the sanctuary, but I noticed that you don't sit in those chairs like other pastors do." And traditionally we would have the senior pastor sit up front, and instead you walk to and from your seat down front, and it just seems like a lot more steps. Well, really, there's a reason why I do that. The reason why I do that is because I believe it is important to see Jesus as the Chief Shepherd, to see him as overseeing all of the worship service. So whenever I'm not actively participating, I am actively participating by being a part of the church body that is just being a part of singing the songs and worship, being a part of the prelude of meditating on the Lord during that first part of the service, and allowing the Lord to lead. And so that's one of the reasons why I always will go down and sit down front. I don't sit in the chairs up front and take on that position. And I know maybe that's just a little quirk of mine, but I think like there's so many advantages of when we realize that Jesus is the chief shepherd, then when we put him supreme over maybe other authorities, that we have in our lives, it helps us be able to focus more on who Jesus is and what Jesus came to do. And then I think like that is so encouraging, right? To know that there's a chief shepherd that is leading us, that is guiding us. He's not just a good shepherd. He's not just an overseer, which is protecting the flock, like we talked about in yesterday's or Saturday's video. No, he's the chief shepherd. He's preeminent. He's first. He's the authority, and all of us, no matter what position we have in the church, whether or not it's a pastor or a member of the consistory or a Bible study leader, no matter who we are just under shepherds, and we are looking towards Jesus as being the chief shepherd. Now, there's another verse here that I think is helpful, and this, let me pull this up. It comes from Romans chapter 8, verse 18. And I love this because this is Paul saying again, he says, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us." And I think that's pretty powerful. And I think that verse connects well to the word here of Jesus being the chief shepherd, especially whenever you see, Peter in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 4, saying that you will receive this unfading crown of glory. See, when we look towards the future of Jesus' return, that gives us hope. Gives us a lot of hope, right? I mean, like that no matter what our sufferings are right now, no matter what we're dealing with, they are temporary, and there's going to be a day where Jesus is going to return, and he's going to give us our eternal reward, this unfading crown of glory, as Peter would say, this eternal life that we've been waiting for, where there will be no more pain, there will be no more suffering, there will be no more tears. We will be with the Lord forever in his presence for eternity. And heaven's going to be just this wonderful place that we get to spend worshiping the Lord day in and day out, and we will never get tired of it. Like, we will be so thankful to be in that perfect state. And I believe, like, when we see Jesus as the chief shepherd, the one who is going to bring us this unfading crown of glory, how encouraging is that? How exciting is that to know that we know that man, we know that chief shepherd that's going to do that. And so I hope that this video, this title of Jesus being the chief shepherd, of seeing him, supreme in our life, the encouragement that brings us, but also seeing how we can look toward his return, how much hope that brings us. And I believe like that is a powerful thing to remember as we continue to focus on these 40 names connected back to Jesus, who Jesus is, and all the promises that we get to receive because of who Jesus is. And so I pray that today, just like all the other days, it will be encouraging to consider this. I would recommend you dive into these passages, pray about them, and see what you think. How Jesus being the chief shepherd actually affects your life. And so I'm hopeful for that. So may the Lord bless you for the rest of this week, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll have another video out on day number 6 of this 40 days of getting to know Jesus better. So God bless.